Politics in Starr County is changing right before our eyes. People are no longer turning a blind eye to proof, and logical arguments are no longer falling on deaf ears. Candidates are being judged by what they are currently doing and what they have done in the past, and it is being weighed against what it could mean if certain candidates win as opposed to others. No longer are candidates being subjected to a life sentence for something trivial that was done in the past. Instead, we are looking at the potential threat. The people behind Gocha Allen Ramirez, Bernice Garza, the lady that committed voter fraud, Leti Garza Galvan, the person that used political connections to have crimes removed from her record, their political allies that never questioned the integrity of their allies, and Gocha Allen Ramirez himself, are desperately trying to control the information that the voter base uses to formulate their opinions. I have to give credit to the attorney Jay Peña for demonstrating the capacity to move aside any long-time loyalty and feelings that he might have for people, long enough to question the intentions of some of them. 3 weeks ago, Jay Peña asked Dr. B on her own Facebook page about her new political alliance with Pino Lopez's wife, Leti Lopez, as a result of Dr. B having posted a picture of her with Leti Lopez. These two ladies are members of the Rio Grande City School Board. He points out that Mr. Lopez had recently pled guilty to federal bribery charges. He invites Dr. B to a televised sit-down to discuss her political strategy. In response, some people suggest that it is wrong for someone to judge a person based on the actions of their spouse. Dr. B plays it off as if Jay Peña had no reason to ask and suggests that she only took the photo because Leti Lopez looks stunning as a chronic cancer survivor and is a symbol of hope for so many, regardless of her spouse, and secondly because Dr. B felt that it was a good photo of her wherein the good doc confesses that she thinks she doesn't look very fat in the picture. As fabulous as these two school board women look in the photo, and I disagree with you, Dr. B, not in that you don't look fat in the picture, but that you would consider yourself to be fat in any photo. I will not apologize for searching through your lovely photos for evidence of at least one that makes you look fat. However, Jay Peña brought to question a possible political alliance, and to address that, Dr. B says that everything is not about politics. She expresses her disappointment in having her political stance questioned in public, and she hopes that Jay Peña picks up the phone and calls her directly, as Jay has done when he has needed something from Dr. B in the past. This gives the impression that Dr. B would rather not talk about it in a public forum. However, she did not delete the posts, and the subject was allowed to continue. People begin to voice their thoughts about the idea of judging a person's political integrity based on the actions of their spouse. Gocha A. Ramirez, in his typical superior and elitist manner, comments, "Jay Peña, a ridiculous comment from a friend of mine. Sorry, Jay, that's just off the charts on the ridiculous scale. I have no idea what you were thinking." I haven't spoken to Jay, but I can read and I can think, and so I was able to deduce from Jay's post that he wanted to have a potential political alliance explained along with a potential strategy. Jay was trying to find out what this photo could mean to the taxpayers and voters. Gocha acts as if this was a joke, and as if he's the authority on the issue. He has passed judgment and found Jay lacking in reason. In hindsight, all of the evidence is to the contrary, and I'm not surprised given that there are hundreds of thousands of dollars at stake for the nose-powdering Gocha Allen Ramirez. People keep trying to say in the post that Jay should focus on individual achievements as if Leti Lopez did not benefit from Pino Lopez's individual crimes. Jay Peña, being all but weak and in submission, argues his point by reminding people that Leti Lopez has taken votes against the interest of half of the school board members that are now awkwardly embracing her vote. He says, "We've all been following this circus, and you'd have to be living under a rock to actually believe she and her husband are not fueling this whole thing. As pretty, wonderful, and cancer surviving as she is, I'm calling it like it is. Our school board is a joke, and I'm not having it. In other words, Letty has voted on her own against half of the school board members that are now aligning themselves with her. As mentioned in the previous video, it was assumed that Danny was opposed to Pino Lopez, but after April 5th, it was too late to try and hide it. In retrospect, this was a sign of the change as a result, and it did not elude Jay Peña's perception. Jay Peña finds himself in a position where people are trying to explain to him that what he did was throw a rock at a public servant. Jay defends himself by pointing out similar acts in the past done to him and his family by the Lopez family. Inadvertently, these people are trying to rig the game. A double standard is set in that some people can get away from doing things that others can or should not, in many cases for the sake of protecting one's own reputation. So do not lower yourself and be like the people that are dragging your name in the mud, because somehow in some magical fairy tale world, you will be better off for it. It is okay for Allen to talk about me being a formerly convicted felon, and insult me at that. And he is respected because he is the god of jurisprudence. Where were these moral knights of virtue and defenders of a person's character when I needed them? Where are the cries of moral superiority that call out for Gocha to take a follicle test to prove that I'm wrong when I say cocaine has found its way up his nose? Are these people also telling him, hey Gocha, you need to back off and don't be like him and stop the name calling? No, they're just going around saying whatever they want to say whenever they want to say it, and no one is really stopping them. But here they are, trying to tell Jay, don't speak your mind, and especially not in public. Not everyone is afraid to speak the obvious, yet it seems that the most educated appear to be the most confused, as evidenced by Judith A. Solis. Judy argues that Jay should not question Dr. B's political strategy because Jay endorsed his father. Of course, Judy is allowed to drag Jay's father's reputation through the mud, maybe because it was his father counselor and he would have been a total douche if he didn't support his own father. How is it that you can ignore Letty Garza Galvan's and Bernice's histories and influence over the school board, but be disappointed by Jay's stance? Whose side are you on, counselor? Because from where I sit, it is nowhere near the voter or taxpayer. Political allies rally to defend the honor of Dr. B and to chastise Jay Peña for voicing his concern and questioning Dr. B's political intentions. But no one addresses the actual issues when Ramona Rios talks about food that is being served. Every time you see a Gocha A. Ramirez campaign billboard, Ramona, understand that it is money Gocha indirectly took from the kids, and that no one, not Dr. B, not Letty Lopez, not Letty Garza Galvan, not Bernice, not Judy Solis, and the long list of people that have sworn their unconditional devotion to the cocaine snorting idiot, said anything to stop him from indirectly taking that money. That money could have fed kids. Instead, he is using it to try and take more money from the kids. Where are all the kid-loving saints when you need them? Gocha 8-Ball Ramirez could have jumped in and talked about how much local council could drop in legal fees to put more money into the cafeteria, but no. He is too busy trying to pull the wool over everybody's eyes. He is trying to blame Eddie, Bacho, and Noe and demands that they tell everybody why they don't want to have some illegal meeting. Some meeting wherein Dr. B helps him get more money. He preaches Civics 101 and how the majority rules, but ignores that Bacho, Eddie, and Noe were voted in by the majority, and that there are rules that need to be followed in order to have that meeting. But the real joke is how Gocha gets away with accusing others for the things he is doing for his ego and political agenda. People aren't dumb. Most have already figured this out. Yes, they have. While Allen and his political allies are doing everything they can to get schools money, the district attorney Omar Escobar is doing his job. On April 4th, the 229th Judicial District Attorney Facebook page posts a video. The CVU attended the 11th annual Starr County Child Abuse Prevention Vigil. The vigil was hosted by the County Attorney's Office, Victor Canales, and the Starr County Child Welfare Board. However, Dr. B and Bernice and Marty want $600,000 for the same services already being provided. And Gocha keeps trying to pull the wool over everyone's eyes by claiming that Omar Escobar isn't doing his job. In March 24th of this year, Abel Villarreal Jr. thought he was speaking to someone anonymous on Better Public Servant, and when his job performance while working with the DA was brought to question, he was a bit touchy on the subject. He didn't have the sense to understand that he was criticizing, in part, an office that he too could be held accountable for the actions of. The insults start flying and he says I should be ashamed of myself and reflect on the difference between the morals I perceive to have and my political loyalty. My political loyalty is on the side of the voter, Abel. Judge instead the actions of your political allies. These political allies circle their wagons and comfort each other. Abel posts on his page a fluffy meme that reads, "If you're having a bad week, it's okay if you fall apart sometimes. Tacos fall apart and we still love them." In other words, it's okay, Gocha, pass me the Coke. No, the kind that you drink, Ramirez. We still love you. He thinks this is a joke. In contrast, Jay Pena posts a link to a YouTube video, I hope he doesn't mind my sharing with our audience, about making better news feeds and the misinformation of today's news outlets and the dangers of sharing misinformation. Jay posts, "Don't make me point out my Facebook friends who need to watch this video." You see, far be it for his friends to accuse him of throwing rocks when he's just trying to help them. They won't listen to you, Jay. They're too busy using fake profiles like Sandy Garza to deliver their talking points and give the impression that people other than themselves do not like the messages coming out of Better Public Servant. Sandy Garza posts on Better Public Servant that I'm too strong in my accusations and that I need to show proof that Gocha has snorted cocaine. This person pretends to care about Omar being associated to these people in previous campaigns and leads the reader to certain talking points. Sandy tries to tie the DA to the same people that are now so desperate in trying to sell a powdered version of Gocha that they assume a false identity to do it. Letty Villarreal and I go along with the ruse and respond accordingly, and Sandy just keeps bringing up new points and keeps sharing her dislike of Better Public Servant. To the untrained eye, she could be convincing. To the reader that has not read our posts or watched our videos, she could easily confuse them and lead them to believe that Better Public Servant is providing a biased service, or that we are conspiracy theorists and losing credentials. Sandy is aggressive with trying to get Letty to just answer her loaded questions, and Letty in the most polite manner does what she can to be polite. According to Sandy, my videos need more facts and I need to show my proof that Gocha has snorted cocaine. The reality is that Gocha needs to prove that he doesn't in court to win a defamation of character lawsuit. I will not be providing an argument in his defense, Sandy. But where this person seriously failed was saying that she thought Gocha was brought in to help Omar get rid of Bacho. We are supposed to believe that someone new to Starr County politics can claim that they don't know much about the situation and that they need more facts and that they're trying to learn, but they know that Gocha was brought in to help Omar stop the evil incarnate, the scourge of puppies, the hoarder of Jack Daniels and girlfriends, the devil himself, Bacho Villarreal. Sandy goes all out, suggesting that it shouldn't matter how much Gocha is trying to steal from the schools because someone was going to do it and it somehow made money for the school. And it sounds like Letty Garza Galvan sat down with Ross Barrera and shared a bowl of Colombia's finest with Gocha to try and infuse in the minds of our readers that we shouldn't care about how much money gets siphoned out of these lawsuits by the lawyers. One look at her Facebook profile shows that she likes child wellness and Rio Talk Soup. A quick reverse search on the profile photo leads to a LinkedIn profile belonging to one Jose Luis Zúñiga Conejo. To the right, you see a list of other profiles. Sandy Garza Lucas has a link to her profile there. Clicking it takes us to a LinkedIn profile of one Sandy Garza Lucas, administrative assistant at Grupo Escalante, where she has been since 2013 in Cancun, Mexico. Life in Cancun must be so boring that this lady spends her time invested in Starr County politics. But it is not Sandy Garza Lucas from Cancun. An attractive woman from Cancun would obviously have at least a few photos or posts to show the public. The wagons circled around Gocha Allen Ramirez, and they have been producing drama ever since. They pump out lies about the school board, about heinous crimes, about feeling sympathy for the families of victims. They wear masks to hide their identities and flat out accuse the voter base of being incapable of seeing through their propaganda. They play with people's emotions, and as I have said before, they will do and say anything to take more money from the taxpayers. Sandy asks, why does it matter how much anyone got paid? Because not everyone sees the school district and the county as a fat piggy bank that exists only to make a few people rich. Sounds like Leti Garza Galvan saying that the school should have an open wallet like the county. Be careful with the information you receive. Check sources and at the very least try to keep an open mind. If you find yourself showing devotion and loyalty, understand that the cost could be in the hundreds of thousands and in the millions over a span of time. The voters are the taxpayers. When this money is lost, it takes from the resources that the county and the schools have to provide services. Services like offering better meals at schools. So remember that each time you see a billboard selling Gocha A. Ramirez as your potential DA, it was paid for in part by the sacrifices of students in your schools. There is no telling how many of your kids' meals he snorted throughout the years.